Welcome to the Raynin Threes podcast with Alan Ray and Mike O'Connell. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hello and welcome to the 9th edition of Raynin Threes. I am your host, Mike O'Connell, here with the former John Wooden AP All-American, Alan Ray. Hey, Ray, what's going on tonight, my friend?
What's good, OC? I'm feeling good. Just want to send out a message to Josh Hart. I just want to borrow $1. Just one. That's it. You just got paid. I just need $1. And we good.
Yeah, man. Can you believe it? I mean, after Dante got the bag, Josh joins him with the Knicks signing a 40-year, $81 million extension. And in total, Ray, 5 years, $94 million. So our guy, Josh, he's set up for the future. You could say that, to say the least. So,
yeah,
really, it's really awesome.
Real happy for him. And real happy for Nova Nation too. We just staying in the news.
Yes, constantly, my friend. It's great, and the news, Ray, around the college sports world, not just college basketball, has to be conference realignment, right? So the Pac-12 has fallen apart. It's crumbled in a matter of what seemed like hours. It just was an unbelievable thing to witness. The Conference of Champions just dissipate the way it did.
Is it too early to use a implode reference?
Yeah. You absolutely can say that.
They imploded.
Yeah. Some Oppenheimer type of just implosion there. Lots of damage being done to these kids, the fan bases, coaches, donors, you name it. It's unbelievable. And the Big 12, the Big 10, the rich get richer in a way. And college football is the reason why this happened. It's not college basketball, I'll tell you that. It's the money that is just completely overwhelming college football compared to any other sport. And basketball is a distant second. But, hey, Ray, the Big East Conference, Big East basketball is well intact, my friend. And to be perfectly honest with you, it has a real opportunity to be the premier college basketball conference moving forward, because it is the sole conference that is only focused on college hoops. And it's pretty awesome because there's no other power conference in college basketball, Ray, that does the double round robin format when it comes to league play. So every team knows each other well, and every team has that sort of rivalry type feel when they get together, whether it be at home, away, sometimes when we'll play at Wells Fargo, off campus, on campus, you name it. It's an exciting time to see that the Big East really has an opportunity to flourish here.
Yeah, and I agree with you, OC. I was having this conversation not too long ago with one of my friends, and we was talking about we was talking about the draft. Like, we looked at the draft, and I posted this last week. You look at the numbers of where majority of the players from the draft come from. The Power 5 conference. You got Pac-12, which is gone now, which makes things interesting. You got Big 10. Big 10 had, now this is crazy. Big 10 had like 10 guys that got drafted, right? But we always talk smack about the Big 10, about how they get into the tournament, all the teams lose first round, they never show up. But it's interesting to see that the Big 10 had like eight people get drafted. So that goes to show you why people think high of the Big 10. And I wasn't one of those people that thought high of the Big 10, but after looking at the players and the teams that they have there, like, you can understand why. I still don't think they're bigger in the Big East, but I'll give them their props. And then you got the SEC. SEC had, like, I don't know, 10 guys or something crazy like that went to the league. Big East had 5 guys. ACC had like 4 or 5 guys. So the Big East is right there. And I hope people seeing with my tweet, like, I wanted to kind of emphasize like how good the Big East is, but we never get respect. We're not considered a Power 5 conference or anything like that. but we managed to get 5 guys into the league, into the draft. Now, what I was talking about with my friend is like the same thing you said. At some point, the NCAA, I feel like the NCAA gotta like do a power conference when it comes to basketball. Like you have to. And especially like they doing it with football. They want all these good teams to play against each other. And it brings in so much money. Now, if you put majority of all the guys who are getting drafted and you got them in one conference or maybe 2 conferences, spread it out, and they're going after each other every single night, the level of competition is going to be unbelievable. Like you said, I agree with you on that. The Big East could definitely become a power conference or the premier basketball conference. Like you said, I think that's a great idea. You got all the pros coming out of Power 5 conferences, Big East. Like, put these schools together, put these players together in a conference or conferences and let them play against each other every single night. Like, that's going to bring money. You're going to have a ton of views. It's the best basketball. It's going to be the best, probably the best level basketball besides EuroLeague and the NBA if you have like a power conference like that in college basketball. But the only question that comes up with me is like, how do you structure the postseason with like all of these teams playing in this one conference? Like, do you have to go to a FBS model like they do in football, or do we stick with the tourney style? It's something to think about.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that, A-Ray. And I think that there's no rhyme or reason why the NCAA would go away from the 68-team field that we have in place right now. I mean, March Madness, it's the biggest moneymaker there is, and it's 3 weeks, 4 weeks of just incredibly fun basketball. You got the upsets, and think about how many people do their March Madness pools, and how much money is involved in not even just that, but gambling. Just weekend in, weekend out, starting from Thursday all the way through Sunday. All the first round action that gets kicked off at noon and then doesn't finish until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Like, that is how they just rake it in. All these different host cities and venues. It's great for the economy. They're getting tourists there. Like, why the hell would you go to Albany, New York in the middle of March? Oh, because I'm going there for the weekend to watch like 8 games of basketball. I mean, that's a great weekend. I can't even get over how much fun March Madness makes places that normally wouldn't be a fun destination to go to. Like, even I went up to Buffalo in the middle of March. It was like, crummy weather, whatever. But I was excited to be there because I was going to the Wintrust Arena to watch some play some games. Like, it's just, it's way more exciting than college football in my eyes, and really in any other major sport is March Madness, is the NCAA tournament. Yeah. There's no way, in my opinion, you can get better than that. And I understand what you're saying. Maybe the conference tournament would have to be a little bit different if there was like that many more teams. But we saw back when the Big East was 16 teams, they made it work, and they had, a lot of teams had buys and things like that. But that I think is small potatoes in terms of the grand scheme of things, because this season for the Big East is massive, right? And like I said, like this opportunity could be taken advantage of if the conference chose to be as legitimate as the hype around it has been. So if 7 or 8 teams from the Big East wind up in the big dance, and all of a sudden, you mentioned earlier, a bunch of these kids that end up getting drafted in the first and second rounds of the NBA draft, a lot of people are going to be like, I want to go play in the Big East. I want my team, my program, my fan base to root for a Big East team, because that's the rivalry, the history of the programs that from top to bottom are in the conference. And you look at what Rick Pitino and Ed Cooley have already done for the likes of St. John's and Georgetown, 2 historically really impressive programs that haven't been good in, a decade, 2 decades, even longer for St. John's. You want to return them to the glory days of Lou Carnesecca, Chris Mullen, and then with John Thompson the first Patrick Ewing back in, the 1984, 1985 years when they were winning championships and losing to Villanova in the championship. But you know what I'm talking about. So I really think that there's a massive, just opportunity, potential for some aggressive expansion from the Big East. And they have to make some serious noise this upcoming season if they want to really take advantage and catapult themselves into, like you mentioned, the premier college basketball conference.
Yeah, and I think it definitely can happen. I definitely think it can happen. Right. But let me ask you, the only thing I feel with like the premier conference, quote unquote, is like all the really good teams are going to be in that conference. They're going to be in that league playing against each other. So there's going to be teams that could be in another conference and be a top 1 or top 2 team in another conference, right?
Right.
So when it all comes down to it, okay, now it's picking teams for the NCAA tournament. So it's like, you could have a good team in the Big East, but they got a terrible record, but they're better than a whole bunch of other teams out there. And like, you can visually see this. Like, what does the committee do? Are you gonna not put in, and I'm just using this name just to say it, like, you're not gonna put in like a Kansas State because they're in the premier basketball conference, and you're gonna put in like a Fordham, but we all know that the Kansas State is better than this Fordham team. And in the tourney, you want your best teams out there. So I feel like it's a possibility that it might not be a lot of great teams in the tournament if there is one premier conference, if that makes sense, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And yeah, we don't want to get too caught up into just being like one like mega conference.
Yeah.
That's not what we're saying. We're just saying like we want college basketball for schools to join the Big East.
Yeah.
And that's certainly a possibility because we have 11 schools right now that are definitely basketball first. Some of the teams in the Big East don't even have football programs. Or they're not in Division I. Like for Villanova, for example, we're D1 AA. We have a great program, but it's not it's not an Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, Florida kind of thing. So you know what we're talking about when it comes to that. But in terms of just Big East becoming the basketball first conference and having other basketball first schools like a Duke or a Carolina or these teams that have historic basketball programs, they have that brand name basketball team and not so much football. They're going to want to not put all their eggs in one basket per se, but really put their best foot forward when it comes to taking care of their basketball program, their fan base, and making sure that they have the best level of competition, right? Because they don't want to be playing against these diluted teams. Like, you look at Louisville, for example.
Yeah.
They went all in on football. That completely backfired, and their football team is like very middle of the road, and now their basketball program is in the gutter when it comes to the ACC. I think they had 3-4 wins last year. So and that's not what we're looking to build the Big East upon, is those type of teams. We want the programs that are going to be like, okay, we want basketball to be what we're known for. And that is an opportunity that I think the Big East has now garnered the attention nationally and said, and everyone is thinking, even John Rothstein was saying this, people on Twitter, social media, even on ESPN, Fox Sports, CBS Sports, everybody's talking like, hey, the Big East has a real chance to put that stamp on themselves as a conference to be like, okay, if you want to focus on basketball first as a school, as a university, and get your athletic program to be like, all right, basketball is 1A. We want to go play in the Big East. And I think that door is certainly open. And if we make some noise this year like we're supposed to, Ray, the top 6-7 teams who, like you said, might be beating up on each other a little bit, especially if we do get more teams involved and that all of a sudden you go 9-9 in the Big East, right? You're 500 and your record is like, you're 20-14 and you're like, oh, wow, these guys have some really quality wins on their resume, but compared to a team from another conference that has more wins and is toward the top of the standings there, who do you want to put it? And I'm not saying that's like a good problem to have, but we've seen it in the past, and I think it's been dealt with appropriately. And that's why you kind of get those teams in the first 4 to play in Dayton as the 11 seeds, as the 10 seeds, the 12 seeds, excuse me, to get in there and be like, all right, we got to prove ourselves by just winning this one more game, but at least we got this chance.
Yeah. I mean, me personally, I would love that, to like be able to play or like be in a conference that is like the #1 basketball conference and get to play against the best teams and like the best players. I would love that. Every game I'll be ready. They did that with prep schools, you know. Like all the prep schools, they took all the best prep schools and they put them together and let them guys play against each other in high school, which I think was a great idea. I think it's time for college to do that too. But just gotta figure out how they're gonna structure that. I don't know what that looks like. But if you pay me, I'll figure it out quick.
I hear you, man. And no, it's certainly a fun thing to think about and toy with a little bit when it comes to possible Big East expansion. The rumors have been swirling for now probably a couple months, the possibility of UConn leaving for the Big 12. I personally don't think that's going to happen nearly as much as I did maybe even just a couple months ago. I think that they want to stay in the Big East because of the history they have and the benefits that they have basketball wise of being.
How about they need to defend their championship too?
Right. Oh, exactly, man.
Don't just get a championship and then try to run out of the Big East like that. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Mm-hmm. So I do have a question for you. If you could pick more than one team if you want, but a couple teams have been in the mix when it comes to possibly joining the Big East as that 12th team. We're at 11 right now, obviously, but always room for maybe one more, maybe possibly 3 more to keep it an even number so we can keep that double round robin format in play for conference games. And I want to hear your thoughts. So a couple teams that come to mind, Gonzaga has been in the mix, a team like Dayton from the Atlantic 10. And obviously when it comes to basketball-centric schools like a Duke or a Carolina, you would definitely want them in there. But I want to hear your thoughts in terms of who do you think the Big East should target? Gonzaga, some of these West Coast teams. It's tough. So I just want to hear your thoughts.
All right. So I definitely like Gonzaga. I think Gonzaga would be a good move for them to come to the Big East. Definitely, I would give Butler the boot.
What?
But Butler, maybe DePaul too. Get them out of there.
Wow.
Then we could get 2 more good teams in. I mean, I'm not saying that these guys are not good. It's business, guys. It's business. We talking business here, okay? So I would love a Duke and a North Carolina, but I just feel like they just will never leave the ACC. I just feel like they just got so much pride with the ACC, they would never leave it. Or somebody would try to just, I don't know, make the ACC a good league or keep it around. But I would love to have Duke and North Carolina Big East. Gonzaga, and if I could pick any other school to join the Big East, man.
Memphis?
Yeah, Memphis is doing pretty good right now. Memphis is not a bad option. Or Houston.
Nah, Houston's Big 12 now, so we got.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I like that Memphis. I gotta think. I gotta think, because Big East is a certain style of play.
No,
we can't just come in there and you'll get tossed up.
Well, that's the thing, though. It is the Big East, right? So having Gonzaga come from all the way from Washington State and the West Coast is definitely a little bit tough. It would be kind of brutal on the students sometimes when it comes to travel, which is the unfortunate aspect of things, because like when we got Creighton, it was like, okay, wow, these students are gonna have to travel to Omaha, Nebraska, halfway across the country, right? You got to basically double that if you're going to Gonzaga, and vice versa when Gonzaga comes to the East Coast. So that, I don't know if it's necessarily feasible. Would it be awesome just basketball, strictly basketball competition-wise? Yes. The Bulldogs are one of the best programs of the last decade and a half, even 2 decades, going back to the days of Adam Morrison. Mark Few, you could argue, is one of the best coaches in all of college basketball at this point. And it would certainly be a lot of fun to get a Villanova Gonzaga game in, twice a year, because we talked about this last episode, Ray, back in 2017-18 season when we won it all. We played Gonzaga in December at the Garden, and it was the first time I think they had ever played, and it was an opportunity for fans to watch a Gonzaga team that plays at 10, 11 o'clock at night, and no one's really staying up to watch the WCC. So it could be a lot of fun in theory, on paper, but certainly logistics-wise, a difficult, decision to move forward with.
Man, these guys is flying private right now. That travel won't be no problem. They be good.
Get that NIL money for travel, right?
Yeah, they'll be good. And it's not like they need to get back to campus because they got to study or they got something to do like that. Trust me, nobody is going in their room after a game when you get home and opening up a textbook. It's just not happening.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so it's good. Travel is cool.
And so moving on from the conference realignment, because that is certainly something that we're going to kind of keep our eyes on moving forward. The Big East, I think, knows what exactly it has to do when it comes to having a really successful year, putting a lot of teams in the big dance, getting that recognition in the NBA draft by producing some pros. But we've already produced a decent amount of pros coming from Villanova, and one of them we mentioned before just got paid, Josh Hart, and he is on Team USA along with Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges. And the three of those guys defeated Puerto Rico 117-74 the other day in their first exhibition. And they have 2 more games coming up against Slovenia on the 12th and Spain, who is the number 1 ranked team, on the 13th. So Slovenia obviously has Luka Doncic, so that'll be fun. Jalen Brunson's old teammate. But I want to hear your thoughts on if you were able to kind of catch some highlights, watch the game a little bit, about how Brunson looked out there, how Bridges looked out there, and Josh Hart eating his PB&J on the bench.
That boy Josh Hart always eating. Like, he always got something in his hand, about to put it in his mouth. Pause. No, but I mean, I watched the highlights and everything.
Yeah.
I kind of like to watch once the lights is on. It's still early, but I seen some highlights. I think Brunson looked good. I mean, they're really looking for him to be the leader of that team, as any coach probably would. And then it's just great having Hart and Bridges there. I saw some highlights of them too. Those guys feed off each other. They know each other. I literally think that the Nova guys can lead this team with some of the veteran guys like Portis, but I think Nova guys can really do a good job leading this team. Obviously, it's international competition, so it's a little different, and you got to get used to it. But if these guys stay the course, stay locked in, communicate with each other, all that good stuff, I think it'll be great. But you can't sleep on these teams now. I mean, I played in Europe for, 12 years or something like that. Yeah, there's a lot of good players. I've had plenty of guys that I've played with make it to the pros. Like, I played with Yusuf Nurkic. He's with is he still with the Blazers now?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, he was on my team. I played with Daniel Tice, who was with the Celtics. I played against Dario Saric. So I played against a lot of guys. I mean, I could keep going on and on and on. Gallinari, when I first got to Italy, he was a young boy. Dunked on my big man. So crazy. Man. But the competition is in Europe is getting much better. It's a lot of good guys out there, a lot of good teams, a lot of good coaching, a lot of good training now. So that game against Slovenia should be good France, Spain, like those teams are always good. So it's going to be a challenge. I'm happy that it's going to be competitive. It's not like 92 Dream Team where they're going to go out and just kill everybody. I don't expect that to happen, but I expect it to be more games going around into this tourney. But I'm definitely excited for it. And anytime Villanova's doing anything in the news, I'm happy about it, good or bad.
Absolutely. And Brunson had a nice double-double, 11 points, 12 boards, and 3 apples to go along with it. Bridges had 14. Hart didn't actually play against Puerto Rico. He was too busy eating his sandwich. But this weekend, I'm looking forward to seeing the Wildcats back in action. And I think it'll be a lot of fun when it comes to the like you said, the news presence surrounding the Wildcats. And Bill Raftery was calling the game the other night and was like, "Oh, I wonder where these guys were coached. I don't think they had such a good coach in college hoops." Obviously, throwing a little bit of a dig at Coach Wright. So that was always funny to see Raf on the call for some Villanova guys. So positive vibes surrounding the FIBA World Cup team, and with Hart, Brunson, and Bridges really being the focus, the heart and soul of that Team USA group. It's been fun, and it was honestly a lot of fun too, Ray. I don't know how much you saw of it, but all the guys at Jalen Brunson's wedding, where was your invite, right? It seemed like half the team from the last, I guess 2016, 2018 teams were there, and they showed up in style. So that was great to see the Wildcats showing out.
No, that looked great. It looked like they had tons of fun.
Yeah.
I am jealous. I'm not even going to lie. I wish I was there, but it looked like them guys had a ton of fun. Like I said, man, it's just great seeing like Nova in the news all the time. And it's even more great to see these guys off the court, like bonding. Usually we always see them on the court or after the game in the press room, but we actually got to see these guys like off the court, like in their element, which was cool.
Yeah, no, it's great to see, and it really shows you the bond that these players have had, and they're not even just teammates. They're best friends, and that's what they are. And it definitely shows that the culture that they were a part of at Villanova has now completely transcended those 3-4 years that they were at school, and now is continued to really be a main part of their life. And to continuing to keep in touch with all these guys, it's a beautiful thing to see. And I honestly think that that's pretty unique when it comes to a college basketball program. I don't see a lot of these weddings going on. If say if Jason Tatum was getting married, I don't think too many Duke guys would go to that one. Maybe
for sure
a couple of them, but I'm not trying to take a shot at Jason Tatum, but I just think it's the cultural difference of the programs of being close, like very familial in nature. We talked about that all the time, especially like you mentioned last episode when you were up in Notre Dame playing Notre Dame in South Bend, Indiana. You guys, Villanova, had a Villanova family up there. They took you in, hooked you guys up with some dinner, and it just felt like a great environment to be around. And that's what Villanova University brings. The basketball program is, I think, a microcosm of that community type feel that we have as an alumni network, as students, as family members. If say like my grandmother, for example, did not go to Villanova, but she seems like she did, just based on how much she loves the program, how much she knows, and the connections that she has as well. So it's something that is extremely different in the best way possible from most, or I would say 99% of programs in not just college basketball, but college sports in general.
I can't tell you how many times I talk to former players and I'll ask them like, "Hey, do you still keep in contact with such and such? Or when's the last time you talked to such and such? Oh, I don't talk to him, or I ain't talked to him in years." I literally, within like the past 2 months, like I've spoken to Kyle, Randy, Jason, and Curtis, like my whole class. So what you were saying is real. We like you establish a bond here, like with your teammates. And I think you can see it is with like how the classes are. Like you look at how Jalen and all these guys are now. That's kind of like their class, and those guys that they went to war with and they battle with, and like you can see how close they are. I feel the same way about like Randy and these guys. Like we were close just like that, and we continue. I don't know. We're old as hell right now, but we continue to like to this day to still talk to each other after all these years. And I love Villanova for that. You know, teach you the importance about relationships, and like these are really your brothers. Like those are my brothers for life, forever. So yeah, what you said is really strong and really true about Villanova and how we carry ourselves.
No doubt. The amount of genuine human connections you make at Villanova, whether you're just a regular old student like me or a student athlete, a coach, an alumni, no matter what it is, you're going to make those connections with people, older, younger, in other walks of life with each other. And it's a beautiful thing to be a part of. And I'm damn proud to be a Villanova Wildcat alumni. And that's, part of the main reason why, we're doing this here today and moving forward, because we care so much, not just about the program, but about the university and just what the amount of joy and positive interactions that it's brought us and is going to continue to do so once we kind of continue to make connections. I mean, Ray, we have yet to even meet each other in person, but here we are. I feel like I've known you for years, my friend. So it's
for sure
been very cool.
For sure. That alumni, I'm proud to be part of that alumni too. I kid you not. A couple years ago, I'm in the gym in Georgia. I'm in Alpharetta. I'm at a gym, and I'm in the gym, and there's this old guy. He's just like, he just keeps looking at me, and I'm just like he started making me uncomfortable with how much he's staring at me.
Right. Yeah.
So, he comes up to me. He's like, "What's your name?" And I'm like, "Alan." He's like, "Alan Ray?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, "From Villanova?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Man, I went to Villanova. I'm such and such class. I don't remember. I remember his name is Jerry. I think it's Jerry White."
Mm-hmm.
And we were just going back and forth memories about Villanova. Big basketball fan. We talked about my class and the national championships, and then I want to say a couple of days later, we ended up at this restaurant. It's called Mad Italian out here in Georgia, and they got the best cheesesteaks I've ever had out here. I'm not going to say ever had, but,
right.
But here in Georgia. So he basically was like, if you like cheesesteaks, I got a spot out here where it'll taste like Philly, like back home. But just the alumni network, like I'm just in the gym chilling, and somebody recognized me from Villanova. So I love it. I just love the contacts, network. You never know who you're gonna meet. It's unbelievable.
Exactly right. And I was leaving work yesterday, and I was talking to some of these kids that had just graduated. And I think they work at Deloitte now. They were touring the SiriusXM studios, and they were asking me a couple questions because I was leaving to go back down the elevator with them to go back to the lobby. And they were asking me, like, "Oh, look, so how long you work here?" I'm like, "Oh, it's my first job out of college. So-and-so." Like, "Oh, where did you go to school?" I'm like, "Oh, I went to Villanova." He's like, "Oh, I went to Villanova too." I'm like, "Oh, no way."
Damn.
And he was like, "Oh, so when did you graduate?" I was like, 2020. He's like, "Oh, you were there for the championship. It's so cool, man." Like, and I was like, "Yeah, dude, I was wearing my Raynin Threes hat." And I was like, "Dude, you got to check it out. Give us a follow." And he was able to do that. So shout out to Brandon. I hope you're listening. And, like we talked about, Ray, that Villanova connection, no matter where you are, it's going to come find you, and it's going to be a positive thing, really, no matter what. So it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. It is. Can't overlook that, man. Like you said, not a lot of places, not a lot of colleges that you can say that about.
No doubt about it. And Ray, the thing is, in November, Thanksgiving weekend, Villanova, the Nova Nation, everybody's going to be piling into the Bahamas to go watch the Wildcats play in the Battle for Atlantis tournament. Part of the non-conference schedule, which is completely loaded. We went over it to basically the best of our abilities last week. We'll continue to dissect it as we get closer to the season. More things happen in terms of, dates and times getting released. But the Battle for Atlantis field alone is pretty impressive. We're playing Texas Tech in that first game, and I'm honestly fired up just for that rematch of the 2018 Elite Eight game we had against the Red Raiders when we beat them by 12 to go to the Final Four. So that was a ton of fun looking back on that matchup. But boy, I mean, we have an opportunity here to rack up some really impressive wins, because if we are able to beat Texas Tech, A-Ray, the winner of North Carolina and Northern Iowa is waiting for us. We're going to play that game, if we do get by the Red Raiders, on November 23rd, which is, in fact, Thanksgiving, at noon sharp, my friend. That will be on ESPN. So could you imagine if we can somehow defeat the Red Raiders and the Carolina Tar Heels get past Northern Iowa, a rematch of the 2016 title game in November? I mean, wouldn't that just be freaking unbelievable?
Nah, it would be great. Definitely love playing against those guys. And hope Raph don't call that game.
Yeah. I
always take shots at Raph. That's my guy though.
Of course.
But yeah, I want to see if I could get down there to that tourney, because like you said, it's gonna be stacked, gonna be a lot of good teams, gonna be a lot of good games. I want to see if I could get out there. We should try.
That would be incredible, man. If we get the Raynin Threes podcast live from the Bahamas for Battle for Atlantis. But that means that we got to do some serious damage down there, man. I'm hoping that we can win at least 2 games, get to that championship game, and just, be like, okay, we got here. We made a statement, and that's what matters. But I want to hear your thoughts, A-Ray. Do you think we have what it takes to beat Texas Tech, beat Carolina, and then in all likelihood beat Arkansas or Memphis or Michigan? I mean, do you think that this team is going to be able to do that this early in the season?
Listen, we got a pretty good team, and I'm not just saying that just to be biased.
Right.
We got Mark Armstrong. Like, this dude can start anywhere, and he is a possibility that he comes off the bench for us. We got, Eric Dixon. He can score 30. We've watched him do that. We've watched his growth. And this is another thing that hasn't been mentioned. Dixon's growth. We've watched his growth year after year after year. And this is another year for him to improve. He's been improving every single year. So I'm really looking forward to see the adjustments he's made in his game and the little things that he added into his game for this season. Then you got Justin Moore. He's the vet. Like, he's the vet. He knows the Big East inside out. And we know what we're going to get from Justin Moore. We had a 70% Justin Moore last year, and he was good for us. So we're going to get 100% Justin Moore this year. I've been talking with some guys back at Villanova. Mamba's like, he's the real deal. He can score the ball. Like, he's a really good scorer. So I'm really excited about it, and I expect these guys. I will hope these guys go to the championship. Like, that's what I want, especially in the preseason tournament like that. You set you how can I say it? You set the standard right away.
Right. Yeah.
Like, for the season. And how you gonna play, how you gonna come out, how you gonna determine what we gonna do this year as players, as coaches. So I would love to see that. That's the perfect opportunity, especially how we finished last year. It's the perfect opportunity to, like, get us right back on board to where we need to be. So I want to go to the chip. I want to see them go to the chip.
Absolutely. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I think it's a tall task, especially coming in the first couple of weeks of the season. They're not going to have many games under their belt playing together at that point, and it's going to be tough. But I will say this: if they're able to get by Texas Tech and beat a North Carolina team that's a projected, according to Joe Lunardi, shout out our guy Joey Brackets, who gave us a nice retweet over the weekend, they're projected 4 seed. So they're not like what we're necessarily used to in terms of Carolina being at the cream of the crop, being a top 5 team, but they're legit and they're going to be ranked all year long, and they'll wind up in the big dance. The Hubert Davis led team was definitely a bit of a disappointment last year, but I think they'll be back to their 2022 vibe when they went all the way to the final, only to lose to the champion Kansas Jayhawks. And I think, hey, Ray, if we're going to be able to beat Texas Tech and North Carolina, I'm happy. Then, right, like we said, it doesn't matter what happens in that championship then, because it's like, all right, we've already proven that we can be this good. We can beat these top-ranked teams. And this early, setting that standard, like you mentioned, that early in the season, in November, I mean, that would be an incredible feat for this team full of veterans. But they don't have a lot of experience playing each other in terms of the 4 transfers, and including, 3 starters in all likelihood, right? Bamba, Hart, Burton, in all likelihood will be starters, the 3 of them, if they remain healthy and if they live up to their expectations. Armstrong, Dixon, Moore, the guys that have experience playing each other. Housen, we saw him hit 70 3-pointers in a row. This guy, the Honorio Assassin, is unbelievable, and he could seriously pop off and take this team to the next level in terms of being that long-range threat. So
this is what I'm saying.
If this team's able to put it together that quickly, Ray, then I think the entire Big East, the entire country, has to be put on notice when it comes to dealing with these Wildcats, because, boy, that would be an impressive feat to go down to the Bahamas and win yourselves your 3rd battle for Atlantis championship.
And then we got Longino coming up the bench.
Mm-hmm.
He was hurt last year. Whether y'all want to agree with me or not, you can tell he just wasn't himself, and he was battling injuries all year long. Like, that dude is, I don't know if y'all have ever seen him in person, but like he's a big dude. Like he's a big guy. We got some nice pieces coming off the bench. Like you said, we got a nice starting 5. I think I'm ready. I think we could beat these teams. I'm just going to keep it 100 with you. I just feel like there's a lot of, how can I say it? The program wants to get back to where they want to be at, where they was before. So it's going to be this year, like they're going to be moving to try to get to where they need to be.
Yeah, there's a real sense of urgency, right?
Yeah. So that's why I feel comfortable. That's why I feel like they're going to be pretty good. Like, they got the pieces. They got some really good guys. Like, there's some really good guys. And I like the way that, like, if you look at Villanova's offense, like, if you know how to play, it's great. If you have great basketball IQ, you know how to make the best reads, make the right reads, then that offense is great. And with the players that we have, it can get scary if guys are really on the same page and really out there, like, tuned in. And like you said, with the chemistry, I feel like these guys are veterans. So, like, to sit here and say that it's not going to be a factor, I'll be lying. But I don't think chemistry is going to be the factor.
Okay.
These guys are older. They know how to play.
Okay.
You know, it's a big difference, like, knowing how to play and, like, not knowing how to play. So
I got you.
And I think they'll learn quicker, too, because they're older.
Yeah, and it seems like everybody's bought in, including the 4 transfers, Jordan Dumont as well, who, in all likelihood might redshirt, but that's okay, because he's going to be a dog working his rear end off in practice, and pushing everybody to their limit. And
He loves it there.
oh yeah, no, just from all of the tape I've seen from practice, from workouts, these guys are getting after it. They're locked in, and they are fired up to be competing against one another because they're bringing it every single day. You know that firsthand. That's what Villanova basketball demands from you. Nothing short of excellence, having that positive attitude, not just on the court, but off the court as well, in life, in the classroom, however you want to say it, no matter the situation, you're going to need to do that if you're going to want to excel as a Wildcat. And these 4 guys, I've heard nothing but excellent things about their character, about their will to win, and about their willingness to buy into what this program is really all about. And to be perfectly honest with you, it's winning, right? And that is the number one thing. Sure, you could say, oh, it's attitude, but I really think the ability to win, get something positive out of every single day, every single practice, every single play, every single minute that you're out there on the court, that's what these guys have been proving themselves to do elsewhere. And now all together, it's almost like the perfect concoction of players has really now joined forces to become almost a super team of sorts when it comes to the transfers and dealing with veterans like Moore and Dixon, with a mix of young guys like Brennan Housen, Jordan Longino, Mark Armstrong, who we've seen nothing but incredible things from this offseason playing for the U19 team for Team USA. So it's just like it seems like it's a perfect storm of players, of attitudes, of skill sets, really have come together here on the main line. And this 2023-24 season, it really has the potential to be one that puts that, not only that stamp that we talked about they put out in 2018, but the new age college basketball stamp with the landscape surrounded with transfer portals, with NIL money deals, the things that we were worried about Villanova not being able to survive with. And now all of a sudden they're turning that into a weapon, turning that into a tool to make their program stronger than ever before. So it's really an opportunity for the program to lift themselves up out of the 17-17 rut that they found themselves in last season, losing that first round of the NIT, to getting back in the mix, possibly winning the battle for Atlantis the 3rd time, beating programs like Texas Tech, North Carolina, Arkansas, Memphis, Michigan, whoever makes that championship game. And if they're able to do that, A-Ray, I think we are going to be licking our chops, being like, I can't wait for Big East play to start. Because if we're able to get that done early, the confidence level, the intensity that these guys are going to have moving forward, going into January, into 2024, is going to be sky high, and it's really going to be a scary team, and nobody in the Big East is going to want to play the Wildcats.
Yeah, I'm real confident in these guys. And I like all of these guys' skill set. Like, each of these guys have like a skill set where they can do multiple things. The only guy that's probably not going to be stepping out, shooting threes and getting to their lane, dumping off is Ware.
Right.
But everybody else can do that on some level. Even Dixon, from the 5 spot, he can get by his man. We've seen him make some passes, get some assists. So I'm telling you, experience, skill set, and just like, I just feel like it got to be a will to win. That's like the atmosphere has got to be at Villanova this year. I'm not saying that they don't have one, but like that's gotta be the mindset going forward out throughout the whole year. Like, win, like by any means necessary.
Yes. Put it all out on the floor. And you mentioned Eric Dixon as being, we talked about him being a possible stretch for this upcoming season, taking more shots from the outside. I saw a picture of him he posted today on Instagram, A-Ray. He looks skinny, man. He looks very, I'm not going to say, too skinny, but he looks very fit, looks very svelte. And I think it's going to really help his speed and agility on the court.
Yeah. But I'm going to tell you the truth about that. In the summertime, everybody is skinny. Everybody loses weight. Even me, like I was the same way.
Even you.
For real. It's just, and then it's like, once you come back to campus, you got the cafeteria, campus corner. Like you just got all this food in your face. So it's kind of hard during the season to keep that summer shape, But I appreciate E putting in that work. That's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to put that work in and get right. But hopefully he can stay that trim during the season. But we don't want E to be that trim, that slim. We need you to bump and bruise down low. So cheesesteak here and there is not bad.
Well, remember, he's sticking to the salmon salads, right? He's not eating those wings, man. But maybe you got those wings to go, like we talked about.
Oh, my God. That was hilarious.
It's all time, man.
Nah, but yeah, I definitely see E putting that work. I love seeing guys in the summertime putting that work all the time. Like, that's what you're supposed to be doing. Get out there, get right.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're traveling up to Philly from Atlanta at the end of next month, right? So you'll have your finger on the pulse. I'm excited to hear what info you get, what intel you get, and how everybody's feeling, everybody's looking, and what the mindset is closer to the program. So that'll be a lot of fun as well, because we know being up close and personal, that's when you get that vibe, right? You could talk to people on the phone, you could text, things like that. That's all great. And that's how we've gotten a lot of our intel and information thus far, but it's great to be there in person as well.
Yeah, definitely. And always good to be back. I haven't gone back since before the pandemic. So right. It's been a while. So it's definitely gonna feel good to get back. I'm going to a little fundraising event. So I'm gonna work on my swing a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't want to embarrass myself.
Get back to Top Golf.
For sure. I'm gonna have a back brace on.
Yeah.
Under my shirt so nobody can see it. I need that.
Got some body armor on.
Yeah. Nah, but it'll be fun. Those events are always fun. The fundraiser at Nova 25th. I'll give you guys more details.
Yeah. And
on X.
All right.
Not Twitter anymore.
No longer Twitter. Right. Jeez. Unbelievable. And the thing is, too, we're going to be having some events of our own, Ray. We were talking a little bit about this before the show, but just keep your eyes peeled for some meet and greets, for some live recording sessions, whether it be on campus at Wells Fargo Center or, possibly at a place, a restaurant, a bar up here in New York City. So we're gonna make sure we get out and really spread the word about the podcast, about the program, and you guys will be able to hopefully meet the great A-Ray in person as well. So exciting stuff. Just brainstorming between myself, A-Ray, and our guy Nick McGow behind the glass, and it's a fun time to be a Villanova basketball fan, and even more fun to be hosting a podcast with a Villanova basketball legend, A-Ray. So it's good times, and I'm really looking forward to what we've got going on in terms of momentum we're starting to create here on Raynin Threes.
Yeah, for sure. Just keep pumping it out, and I can't wait for the season to start. You guys, we already know how the season get. I can't wait for that first in Neptune tweet or anything about Neptune. That's when I know, like, okay, like we here.
Mm-hmm.
It's time now. But it's real fun, and definitely appreciate everybody that tunes in and listens. And trust me, we do have a lot more, but it's kind of the off season now, so kind of keeping it copacetic.
Right.
But stay tuned.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be fun. We'll get into some more of the class of 2024 recruiting, in the next couple of episodes. It's just something that's kind of been lingering around. We have yet to land anybody, but we're hoping to kind of keep some tabs on these top players. I would say one guy to look out for the class of 2024, which I think is a realistic option. He just visited the other day, is Sir Muhammad. I think this kid is a Villanova type of person, not just player. So if you guys want to check him out, I think he is in all likelihood the best option in terms of like a realistic landing spot. And because we're gonna need it, right? A-Ray, these 4 transfers that we have this year, Hakeem Hart is in his last year of eligibility. Tyler Burton is in the same boat. TJ Bamba has 2 more years and 1 more year after this current one, but we're obviously hoping that he does so well that he goes to the league after this season, whether it be through the drafts or he signed a contract like our guy Jermaine Samuels did. But so it's certainly something to keep your eye on recruiting. We're going to get into that as the summer rolls along. So don't think we're just going to be skipping over that aspect of the program. It's obviously very important, and we're going to continue to keep tabs and keep our finger on the pulse when it comes to that. But I would not get your hopes up too much about landing like a Jalil Bethea. We've mentioned his name before in the past. This guy is a really, really high-level recruit, and everybody is chomping at the bit to get him. So if we lose out on him, it's not the end of the world, Nova fans. And, A-Ray, you're making that money sign because that's what it's going to have to take. But I'm here to tell you right now, A-Ray, we have $3 million in NAL money every year for the program, so that's not too bad. And if we don't reach that $3 million, then we have three or four donors who literally have said we're going to step up no matter what it takes to make sure we reach that $3 million goal. So say we get to 1.5 mil, they're going to make up the difference and raise another 1.5 mil to make sure we get to that $3 million threshold. So the program's in a great spot when it comes to NIL, and credit to those donors that are really making a massive impact on Villanova basketball on and off the court. So, it's definitely an exciting time to think that even just a couple years ago when we were like, oh my gosh, this transfer portal NIL stuff is really gonna screw with the program. But here we are, and we're right sitting pretty where we need to be. So a very, I guess it's a relaxing thing to hear, Ray.
Yeah, it is. It is, OC. It is.
And just shout out to our guy Jermaine Samuels, who is now teammates with Cam Whitmore in Houston. So I'm gonna be a big Knicks fan this year for sure, Ray. But I'm definitely gonna be tuning in to some Houston Rockets games as well to check in on our guys Jermaine and Cam.
For sure. Coach Pinkney is over there too.
That's right. Yeah. Good call, man.
He was the scout that told me that Houston really liked Jermaine.
Yes. Yeah, I remember you had that.
So I
knew
he was getting picked up. They love Mano. I mean, how can you not love him?
How could you not love Mano? He's the best. I remember Coach Wright said when Jermaine was a junior, and I was a senior, he was like, if you were to have a daughter, you would want Mano to marry your daughter. Like, that's the type of guy that
because he's so nice, right?
Oh, he's the best. He can talk to anybody about anything. I mean, he's got like an artistic side to him. Me and him definitely had a lot of laughs back when we were in college together. So really just a stand-up guy and a heck of a basketball player too, as we know.
But that's true. Coach Wright used to tell me that all the time. He used to be like, Mano is too nice. Like,
yeah.
Like he used to say this all the time. He's like, Mano is too nice. Like that guy. He's too nice. But then, and he used to tell me this during the season, because I talked to Coach Wright. Like we be talking. And during the season, he's telling me this. And then they get to the tournament, and we remember how Mano played in the tournament. Mano was on a whole different level. He was in a different gear. And that's what Coach Wright was talking about. Like, Mano can do that anytime he wanted to, but like sometimes he was just too nice about it. But I'm happy that he's with Houston. He's one of those glue guys like Josh Hart. Just do everything, whatever you need. Like he's gonna do it. Like that's why I love Mano.
1,000%. And yeah, he was swatting everything out of his way. He was posterizing people. He was Raynin Threes in that 2022 Final Four run, which was more than a blast to watch him. And he's earned his stripes. He's going to be down with Houston and the Rockets alongside Cam Whitmore. So definitely keep your eyes peeled and try to catch some Rocket games as well, because not just the Knicks, but the Rockets as well in terms of a Villanova takeover. So the Wildcats in the NBA, they're for real, and they're here to stay, Alan.
Listen, y'all gonna stop doing my old guy Kyle like that too, because he's still in the league, all right?
Oh, hey, oh, come on, man. I'm not saying I'm not leaving him out. I've been watching Kyle since he was, first in the league with the Grizzlies, man. So, don't get it twisted.
Yeah, don't remind me about that because I went to Memphis and this dude signed a contract for way more money than I did and somehow ended up getting me to buy him some clothes when we went out.
Yeah, I thought that is hilarious.
Yo, don't ask me. That's Kyle Lowry for you. That's Kyle Lowry in a nutshell. Dude was making way more money than me, but still, I gotta buy him stuff, and I still did it. That's Kyle Lowry.
Well, maybe you're too nice too, Ray, if you're out here buying him stuff.
Exactly. Exactly.
You and Mato got a lot in common, my friend.
Exactly. Yeah, I remember that. Like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
We played Memphis.
Oh man, that's great. You got so many stories. We're just just at the surface right now is with some of these great memories and stories you have, whether it be games, personal experiences with guys, man. So I'm excited to continue to delve into that as we go along because it's always a blast here chopping it up with you on Raynin Threes, right?
Yeah, and it's the off-air stories that you got to hear too. So we definitely gotta.
Oh yeah,
link up to get those stories out. But yeah, I got a lot, and it usually just comes to me like when we do these podcasts, like stuff just be jumping up into my memory. So I'll make sure I get it out and like talk about that because everybody loves to hear those kind of stories, and I love hearing those stuff from other players too. So I try to remember to get those out and tell these stories anytime it comes to my mind.
Yes, sir.
Because we got a lot of good ones.
Oh my goodness, endless amounts of content, man, and that it's been a ton of fun. Just 9 episodes in, Ray. We had our first technical issue tonight, but we were due for it. We overcame it, and here we are. We had another great episode, and I just want to appreciate everybody for tuning in. We're gonna have more things coming for you. We have some merch, as you can see. I got to ship the hats to. I got yours right here, and Slick Nick, I got yours as well. So you guys will get your lids, Raynin Threes lids, sooner rather than later. And everybody listening, we're gonna have polos, t-shirts, quarter zips, hats, beanies, you name it, man. Raynin Threes fever is coming to you soon,
for sure. And I don't know if you guys heard, but my voice was a little choppy. I had to cough bad as hell, and I was holding it. I'm talking about my eyes started watering, like my throat was like burning. Yeah. So if you hear me like coughing and like sniffling, it's because of that. Like I was holding that, man.
Slick's got our back, man. He's gonna make sure it sounds crisp and clean. So you could have coughed all you wanted, and it wouldn't sound any different. So you don't have to kill yourself and try to hold in a cough next time, bro. All right?
I know that for next time. Like, I'm new to this. I'm new to this. And I literally was just killing myself just
You were. Oh, my God. Yeah. Hey, but I appreciate the dedication, man. That's what it's all about.
Go back to like, I don't know, maybe like 15 minutes. My eyes is watering as hell.
Oh, man. Oh, an absolute pleasure to be here with you, Alan. Once
Raynin
again,
Threes.
We just dropped episode 9. We'll be coming back with the 10th edition very soon. And keep posted. Keep that support going on Twitter, on Instagram. You guys are the best. We appreciate you so much. And keep tuning in. Keep giving us that love and support because Villanova basketball season will be in here in no time.
Love you guys. Definitely appreciate you guys tuning in and stay up to date on X.
Oh, yeah.
Formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Lots of changes going on, but here we are with Alan Ray. I'm your host, Mike O'Connell. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great one.
Peace out, Nova Nation.